Okay, so another monologue in the Last Day Ever series. Picture me as a man in my 50s. I'd have a yard sale. I love yard sales. Ever since I was a little kid, that's the thing my dad and I always used to do together. He'd say to me, "Okay, Danny, time to go find our treasures. It's 7 a.m. You got to get there early if you want to get the good stuff, the best stuff." Which is funny because most of the things we found were hardly worth anything, really. In fact, he made it a mission to look for things that were broken or falling apart. Every Sunday morning, that's what we did from the time I was 5 till the time he passed away when I was 23. That's what we did. He called it his Sunday, which I always thought was weird because technically it was everyone's Sunday. But that was us. Buying old coins, car parts, lamps, mowers, anything we could to fix up. We'd find things on Sundays and spend the rest of the week making them work. That's how I learned which nuts and bolts worked with this kind of tire, that kind of motor. Everything I learned came from secondhand with my dad. I remember every now and again he'd let me get something silly like an action figure or a new shirt. Old shirt at this point. But most of the time it came down to what we could fix, what we could make better, keep together. I think it was his way of trying to make our little family unit work. My mom died when I was really young, and it's okay. I don't remember. I was young. But it was just the two of us. Me and this hulking bald guy covered in tattoos, holding my tiny hand as we walked through the East Lane yard sale. My dad didn't talk much, but man, could he teach. He showed me everything. He could do anything, make anything work again. Except himself, I guess, in the end. Heart attack out of nowhere. I was still living at home with him when it happened. I wasn't there that night, but what a thing to come home to. He was in the garage working on one of his projects, a lawnmower, another lawnmower. You know, we hardly ever got rid of anything we fixed. He'd keep it all stored up in the garage or the basement for the day that we would have a great big yard sale all of our own. And no one would ever have to wonder if anything worked because we would have fixed it up for them. When I came home from the hospital later, alone, I sat in that basement for hours, surrounded by all these things, taking in everything around me, everything that we made work again. And I got so angry. He gave his life to fix all these things, and in the end, there was nothing that could have done the same for him. I got my old baseball bat off the shelf, and I wanted to destroy it all. I would have, too, if I hadn't hit a shelf with a box on top that fell right on top of me and knocked me right on my ass. I got up, started picking up all the crap that fell out of the box, and I grabbed a small frame, handmade by him, it looked like, with a picture of the two of us in front of the East Lake yard sale sign. I don't even remember taking it. The glass was broken, so I took it out of the frame to keep the photo safe. I turned it over to see if there was a date or something, and on the back he had written, "My first Sunday." Sunday. I spent the rest of the night down in that basement till the Italian brigade showed up bringing so much food I almost had to rent a second freezer. We talked about my dad, shared stories, ate lasagna. I showed them all the projects he and I had taken on over the years. As we talked about them, they said things like, "I used to have a lamp like this," or, "Oh man, this clock reminds me of my grandmother's." And I just handed them over. I mean, let's face it, they were always going to go somewhere at some point. Felt better this way. After a week of planning and funeral arrangements and cleaning up, almost everything we fixed over the years was gone. And while I was happy it had a home now, a better home with someone who needed it more, I was suddenly struck with how alone and empty my house was. So the next Sunday, I took myself down to the East Lane yard sale. And Dad always comes with me. I bought a broken lawnmower. And I went back the week after that and the week after that. every week for the last 30 years. I'm not nearly as good at repairing things as my dad was, so it's taken me twice as long to fill up the house again. But when it's my time to go, years in the future or today, all this will be ready for the person who needs it. Big yard sale. Today's Sunday. Actually, you know what? It looks like it's going to be a really nice day today. 7 a.m. Perfect time for a yard sale. You got to go early, if you want to get the best stuff.